flip the finger to the King of England. Stole our country from the Indians. With God on our side and guns in our hands, took it for our own. Built a nation dedicated to liberty, justice and equality. It doesn't look that way to you, it doesn't look that way to me. Sick and joke, I know. Listen up and I'll tell you who I am.
It's time for the second session of the Congress of the Working Class. I am Mike. We are here with Johnny and Esworthy. Hello. So
I feel like a real Congress. We took a very Congress-esque 2-week break there.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Yeah,
unfortunately, paid for it the whole time.
I'm still waiting for my $200,000 paycheck.
That'd be great. But
I thought it was $300,000 now.
I thought it was $299.
Screw it. We can vote for our own raise. So.
Oh, that's right.
It doesn't matter how much we get paid, because if we don't like it, we can always vote to get paid more.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we had the Republican National Convention this week, and the Democratic National Convention. Yeah, there we go.
Yes, that's correct.
That is correct. Yes.
The liberal show.
What's that?
The commie liberal show.
Yeah.
And the
mega church.
And the mega church Jesus freak show.
Right. Exactly. So. Yeah, we had both of those happen past 2 weeks. Lots of lies spouted by both sides. I'd have to say, if you put them on a scale, I think the Republicans win the lie contest.
I don't know. O'Malley was at the Democratic National Convention.
Well, I was telling Johnny the other day, Maryland apparently is in the bag for Obama because, within the first day, they had 7 people from Maryland speaking for him.
You need to rephrase that. 5 counties in Maryland are in the bag for Obama, and that'll pretty much win him the election here.
Well,
and they aren't the ones we live in.
Yeah, well.
The rest of the 23, where the 18 other counties are very much against Obama. Unfortunately, they don't have the population of Baltimore or D.C. area.
D.C. doesn't get the vote, do they?
Montgomery County does.
Yeah, but that's not
D.C. It's pretty much the D.C. metro area and Baltimore City are the only ones that vote for it.
I said the D.C. area, not D.C.
Fine, whatever.
That's what I say, damn it.
Why should I pay attention?
Because I say very, 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 very important things.
Every once in a while you'll let a nugget slip out.
Hey, that's because the medicine I'm on.
Yeah, I mean, what was it? Even one of the Fox columnists on their website called Paul Ryan's speech a record number of lies in one speech. So that doesn't say a whole lot for them. The one thing I did find amusing, which is a meme I found, which I was watching Bill Clinton's speech because apparently everybody in the House creamed their shorts when Bill Clinton came on the stage.
Oh yeah, it's his sex appeal.
Yeah, and pretty much, he was talking about the evils of deregulation. Yet that is the man who's signed off on removing Glass-Steagall, which led to our huge financial crisis.
It's Bill Clinton's fault.
It is Bill Clinton's fault.
The Fox is right,
and not finding Bin Laden was Clinton's fault too.
Well, he was because actually investigation started during that time period. George Bush was only in office for a few months when everything happened.
Yeah, I don't care. They're all a bunch of liars. But the one thing that I did find extraordinarily interesting about the Republican National Convention, though, is that they didn't mention Bush. You had a president that was in 8 years in office. He wasn't there. The only person I think out of that entire cabinet was Condoleezza Rice.
Yeah, but she's in a new administration, so her face has changed. As far as her allegiance and who her John and pimp is paying her salary.
Yeah, but it's kind of messed up there because it's like, they didn't have Cheney there. They had nobody. You had 8 years worth of Republican. Like, they don't mention any of it.
Well,
it's really disturbing.
Condoleezza Rice is in the Obama administration.
Is she?
Yeah, she's Secretary of State. Or she was, at any rate. Maybe she's Chief of Staff now. I might be entirely wrong there. I know she did have a position with the Obama administration.
Are you sure?
I didn't think she did.
Pretty sure.
Clinton was a Secretary of State, and while her husband might be the first black president, I don't think she classifies as Condoleezza Rice.
Right. Yeah, so
former Secretary of State comments. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, she was Bush's Secretary of State.
I know she was Secretary of State, but
I don't think she moved over to the Obama administration.
Okay. Go ahead, continue.
Yeah, I think that was the first thing Obama did was hand that to Hillary Clinton for stopping her, her primary run.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, I just found it odd. I mean, Clinton may have gotten impeached, but they still brought him in. So I just think it was kind of odd that they didn't ask him to speak or nothing. Like there was no mention of him. If you listen to the speeches, like they don't, like it's like he never existed. It's weird.
I don't know. I don't think I would mention a fuck up like that either.
Did they mention Reagan?
I think they did mention Reagan at least a couple times.
Okay.
But like they just, I mean, if you gotta, if you're trying to come in and saying, hey, look, these policies, because essentially all the policies they're talking about re-implementing are the ones that Bush either continued or put into place, and they're still acting like they're going to do them, but of no mention of this man who preceded them and put them in place. I don't know. It's just really weird to me. Yeah, it's just like saying there's, God made this, that, and the other, but not mentioning God.
Like Democrats. Oh, until they change that.
I know. That was messed up, too. That was another thing that really drove me nuts.
That was a political science faux pas.
Political science faux pas?
Yes.
Okay.
They wanted to they added God to sway the more conservative swing voters.
Mm-hmm.
The more religious swing voters, let's say. Let me rephrase that, because not all conservatives are religious.
Yeah, some of them are just bigots. But anyway, no, the thing that got me about that, did you see when they did the vote?
No, I did not watch anything.
You didn't watch any of this stuff? Man,
Nope.
we do a political talk show. You should probably watch some of this stuff.
No, I don't, the subliminal messages and all. I don't really give a shit about either political party.
Well, wear your tinfoil hat.
I drove my wife absolutely crazy making her watch the conventions for 6 nights out of the last 2 weeks.
Well, that's, I'm sorry.
Esworthy, if you're that worried about it, wear your tinfoil hat. It'll keep the messages out. And, just, you gotta see where the lies are, we know that they lie, we gotta see what they're lying about, so that,
I know they're lying.
Why, because their lips are moving?
Yes.
I can tell they're lying because they're talking to empty chairs.
Oh, yes, that was another fun bit.
That was, I know what he was trying to do. He was
I actually found it entertaining.
It was a Bob Newhart sketch.
Easy to make fun of, but it was actually pretty entertaining. But
he's a fucking actor, and people are taking this shit so seriously. Of course, he did go on for a while.
It was 12 minutes.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, it was funny for 3. I did watch that.
Yeah, but, that was painful for me to watch because it's like, it was almost watching like an Alzheimer patient.
That's what I got too. I was like, man, I feel sorry for that poor bastard.
Right, exactly. It's like, like who approved him to do this?
His papers are not in order.
Yeah, I mean, if he, and if Mitt Romney's people like either didn't approve that or did approve that, Like, if they didn't bother to pay attention to what he was going to do or proved him able to do that, that does not bode well for the people he's going to put in office if he's got people like that in chair, you know?
Every aspect of that show was choreographed and planned and statistically analyzed and, you know, every aspect of it. I mean, there was no surprises.
Well, the piece that I heard was that they didn't vet that act, like they just, Clint Eastwood's going to come on and talk. And supposedly, supposedly one of the guys...
we didn't plan that.
Well, he said, one of the stagehands said he asked for a chair not knowing what he was doing. They thought he was just going to sit in it and talk. And
he talked all right.
He just didn't sit in it. No, but I mean, I didn't see anything. The problem that and I know you guys have seen it too, it didn't spark anything. It didn't show us what they were going to try to do other than the BS lies that they've already pumped at us for the last 4 years leading up to this. You know, there was nothing to make someone who's as cynical as we are about it, you know, stand up and go, you know what? That's a game changer. I'm going to vote for this guy.
It's funny. I have right here somewhere, this pile of stuff here, I have a Swank magazine from like 1994. Okay? And it's an election issue. And it has, I'm serious, it has this picture of a debate between two politicians. Okay? On the left side, there's one guy grabbed his crotch and pointing at the other guy. And the other guy has his dick hanging out. He's pointing at it. It's like, that's what politics has become. It's a pissing contest, basically. You know? It's sickening. It really is. It's all this two parties playing up against each other and leaving America in the rubble behind. You know?
Exactly. Yeah, there needs to be a serious third party option. And one that, you know, because I know we've had this discussion many times over, and I'll let you do your piece here in a minute there, Sworth. But we've all come across it. You know, everybody talks about it's a waste of vote. It's a throw it away. You know, we've come across it a million times over talking to people about it. But legitimately, think about what, you know, if you could actually vote your thought process as opposed to just voting lesser of two evils.
Don't get me started on that. Oh, wait.
No, that's exactly what I'm doing. Start.
Oh, now? Okay.
Yeah, go for it. Why not?
All right.
So this is going to be a little thing that we do. We're going to try to implement this whenever we feel like doing it, so don't get used to it. It's going to be the Working Class Soapbox, and we're going to hand it off to one of us, whether it be me, Johnny, Swervy, one of the people that come on here and visit us every once in a while. They're going to get a chance to just rant about whatever it is that they want to rant about. So this is going to be our first one, so I'm going to hand it off to Swervy. Should be a pretty good one. Go ahead.
All right. Following the argument that voting for a third party is wasting a vote or taking votes away or pointless, that's allowing the two-party political media machine to coerce your vote through bullying and propaganda, preventing you from exercising your will at the voting booth, which is the whole point of democracy, so I thought. It shows that the people have been either completely captured by the lies of both parties, or they've been completely given up on the whole system, don't have the balls to do anything about it, which is where most of American sheeple exist today, unfortunately. It's a defeatist attitude, and it's eroded democracy in our country, and it's why we have this extravagant election industry that does nothing but funnel billions of dollars in the media conglomerates and away from the rest of the economy. By the way, the same media conglomerates that are propaganda machines for the two parties.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, as we've seen with both the recent conventions, it's not about the people or the country, but it's about the show, the money, and the power. It's a de-evolution to a pissing contest between zealous ideologues whose core interest is to stick it to the other guy no matter what the damage to the American people. Bullying people by saying third parties don't have a chance kind of makes that very thing happen. It's a simple exercise in causality. We've been stuck with two parties for a long time, and they are doing such a great job.
You're here.
Yes, I'd like to quote one of our founding fathers, John Adams. There is nothing which I dread so much as the division of the Republic into two great parties, each arranged under its leader and concerting measures in opposition to each other. This, in my humble apprehension, is to be dreaded as the greatest political evil under our Constitution. And he was right on the money. As we've seen lately, the polarizing nature of the two-party system has led to discrimination, civil unrest, and a widening ideological divide that threatens to pull us apart as a nation. It needs to end, and it needs to end quickly. Our nation is at the precipice. We either step back and save ourselves, or we fall off the edge into oblivion. It's our choice, and no sane entity chooses oblivion.
Nice.
I know it sounds like I read that from somewhere. Well, I actually did, because I have it written down.
And it's a very, very, very valid point. We are a country that is getting stuck with two parties that are almost ideal. Almost identical, sorry. Almost identical with each other, minus a few blips here and there. But even with the Democratic National Convention, you see now they're trying to veer towards the more evangelical side. They try to capture that vote, so it's starting to even push. It's all about patriotism and religion. So.
Yeah, which is the same as like fascist societies go for.
Yeah. And both parties are just as guilty of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's getting to the point where we have to start making. I don't understand these people's argument. Like you said, it's either a failing of our system, or a failure of the people. That it's not working.
I think it's both. The people allowed the system to come to this.
Well, and you got areas like, if you look at, Maryland, you need 10,000 registered signatures in order to just register a third party in the state. That's a lot of signatures needed just to be able to get somebody on a ballot. I understand the need for some kind of process. You still not, every schmo on the street doesn't walk in and try to do it, but, that's just ridiculous, especially when the two parties are going to go in and are going to go in and try to argue every single signature, just like they're trying to do in a lot of states with the whole Libertarian Party. The Republicans have been going after them in key states, trying to get Gary Johnson thrown off the ballot.
Yeah, they're actually suing.
In Michigan, I think.
Yeah, it's
Ohio, Michigan, Pennsylvania,
and
DC. A bunch of them.
DC, it's like obstruction of justice, It's obstruction of the electorate.
Right. And I don't disagree. But I'm pretty sure we had this discussion a while back about the fact of how a system should wind up, what the system should actually wind up being on how you would run with multiple parties. But
I think that was during our when we were the other show, how we would design a political system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was. It's a sad state that we are in at the moment, and we don't have. I'm not seeing any light at the end of the tunnel for it. I like the fact of Gary Johnson. I like the fact that the Green Party and the Libertarian Party are still there and fighting. I may not necessarily agree with all of their things, but I'm happy to see that there are other people there. The only problem is that even the news outlets are keeping people away from it. Like Ron Paul, even with Ron Paul trying to run. Now, I don't agree with everything Ron Paul says. With Ron Paul, they tried to discredit him more than a lot of the other candidates. Like, they wouldn't even talk about him.
Well, they wouldn't even put it up during the primaries.
Right.
Sometimes they didn't even mention his name in the running when he had 30% of the vote.
Exactly.
Or in the polls.
Yep.
So, it was very discriminatory.
He ended up with 9% of the delegates for the Republican Party, and they pretty much just took him away and told him all to go fuck themselves.
Right, exactly.
Well, that's the thing, though. I mean, that was the end result. But the thing was, all that negative publicity, people fall into that trap of, oh, it's a wasted vote, blah blah blah. I'm going to vote, make it matter, even though it's not who I want to vote for.
Well, your vote doesn't matter anyway. If you think about with the Electoral College, essentially they're going to pick who they want to pick, even if, the way the delegates are spread out and everything like that, like we talk about here, where essentially a couple counties determine the entire state.
Well, that's true.
Well, the thing is that it's because the way the delegates are split up, and then on top of that,
then you have states like Alaska where one of their votes counts as 3 compared to one of ours in this state.
I thought it was the House of Representatives that put the votes in for Electoral College, not the Senate. So you get more seats in the House of Representatives based on your population, and the Senate you just get 2.
It's a good question. Not 100% on that one.
Yeah,
the House of Representatives.
Who said it was the Senate? Did I miss something?
I didn't hear anybody say anything about that.
Well, saying that by saying you get more votes relative to another state because you have less population isn't the case. It's going to be from the House of Representatives because they have fewer representatives.
The Electoral College has a minimum. So even though the states don't have a population high enough to hit the minimum, they get the minimum number of Electoral College votes.
Are they like proxy votes or something? Or?
Well, like say Alaska. Alaska doesn't have the population enough to count for the minimum, but they get the minimum anyway.
I gotcha. Okay, I understand that.
Yeah. So
it's what it works out to is that because their population's so low, for it to bump up to the minimum, I think their vote basically counts as 3 compared to ours.
You see, that's what political science degree gets you.
An understanding of the Electoral College, yes.
Yes.
What I think is a horrible system.
Right, but see, here's the thing, and the thing, if you're going to argue that point, the whole point of Electoral College is to keep what happens in Maryland, where you've got a whole bunch of counties that vote Republican and then 5 that vote Democrat. The idea was to keep those 5 counties from controlling the whole system. So that's why it exists.
But they do control the whole system.
But the Electoral College was also set up at a time when communications between, let's say, Boston and D.C. wasn't D.C. at the time, but get the idea, could take weeks. And it was basically, it was a way to speed up the process.
No, I'm not arguing that it's good or that it's, modern or that, or it's, I'm not arguing either way. I'm just saying that part of the reason it was set up was right. to keep, even though a state had a low population, it was to still try to keep it relevant within.
Well, I'm talking about via the counties controlling a state. I'm not, each state having their own thing. See, I think it should be counted as, the way the Electoral College works is that if you supposedly have enough votes in your area for this state, that state goes with that person. But that's not necessarily how it is.
Well, in the end, it's up to the electoral collegiates, the delegates, right. To vote the vote, and they're not really compelled to vote with the results of the local general election.
Exactly.
They usually do though, but they're not compelled to do so.
Yeah,
and it's happened in the past.
My concern with that is that, hey, what happens when everybody starts getting bought up and they decide they want a specific guy in office? Then they all just toss their hat that way and don't give a shit about what the rest of us say.
Well, that's what kind of amuses me about the 2000 election, was how they made such a big deal over the results of the polls in Florida, when those votes actually don't really matter in the actual election of the president of the United States.
Okay.
As far as because it's the Electoral College that actually votes, the that those 5,000 votes or whatever that it was that close,
Mm.
it really didn't. In the big picture, it was more of a political bluff than anything else.
Right.
Between Kerry and Bush.
Well, I think they were assuming that the delegate, was going to vote for whoever actually won that county or those votes or whatever.
Well, assumption is one thing, but I'm honestly, with the Electoral College in place, the general vote isn't really it's not a real. It's hard to explain this one thing. It doesn't have the force you would think it does. The gravitas, since it's not actually that determines who the next president will be. There have been cases in the past where the one person won through the general vote, but the Electoral College had another person winning. It's happened twice, I think, in the history of the United States.
And I look at it and go, I think that's where a lot of people get this whole my vote doesn't count. I mean, because honestly, in that scenario, it kind of truly doesn't.
True.
Because the Electoral College is going to pick it, and even if there's a 5,000 vote gap, where they do a recall, your one vote in that mess is not going to wind up tipping in either direction, because essentially the Electoral College is going to wind up having the final say and make the decision.
I agree.
So, to me, it's a inherently flawed system on that aspect, because essentially it's the people higher up in the chain can go, oh, these people don't know what they want, we'll pick this.
Yeah, that bothers me on many levels.
And that's always been my issue with the Electoral College. I think it's a travesty to what democracy is, because if every vote counted, it wouldn't go by counties. It would go by total votes over the country, because say, like in Maryland, like you have 15 states that'll vote Republican, 3 that'll vote, or 5 that'll vote Democrat. Okay? Now you think about that, okay? All those Republican votes in those 5 counties pretty much get thrown to the side.
Mm-hmm.
And all the Democrat votes in the other Republican ones get thrown to the side. So whoever wins in that county, your votes kind of get thrown to the side, whoever loses, and doesn't count towards the grander scheme of this person. So if your community is spread out enough, say out here, you have 53% Republican and 47 Democrat. The 47% Democrat, however many people that is in this county, essentially get thrown to the side. So if a Republican wins, it's not really a majority at that point, because you're only being counted in your county.
Mm-hmm.
But that's only how the states. That's only when you're talking for the whole nation. When you're talking like the counties don't divide up that way within the state, at least in Maryland.
Right.
In Maryland, all the Electoral College votes go to the most popular candidate for the entire state.
Yeah,
so the
theory.
popular vote does win. Well, in theory, but that's pretty much 99.9% of the time. That's what happens.
Well,
and
what he's trying to say is that that popular vote is swayed by those more populous counties as opposed to the
actual individual.
Yeah, as opposed to, like, say, for example, Carroll County as compared to Anne Arundel County. Carroll County is a very rural county and is primarily Republican, whereas Anne Arundel County is a suburban county, more so than Carroll, and tends to sway into the Democratic vote. So by general population, there's more people in Anne Arundel County voting Democrat than there is people in Carroll County voting Republican. So hence the Carroll County vote doesn't have as much gravitas as the Anne Arundel County vote.
Well, even the fact to say, like,
right,
us
and
three.
that's why they created the Electoral College. I mean, that's
right,
why that
my
works
point
in the
is,
federal level.
my point is the majority and the thing, like, if it's us three voting, you two vote Republican, I vote Democrat. We have another group, 2 people vote Democrat, 1 person votes Republican. The one Republican on that side and me being a Democrat on this side are pretty much tossed out. And you two's votes are the only ones that count. And that's what makes me mad in this scenario, because it's like, okay, well, this county went for Republican. So that's 1 count towards the Republican pile. This county went Democrat. This goes towards the Democrat pile. And it doesn't count by vote. It doesn't say, okay, well, this guy, we had 2,300,000 and blah, blah, blah in this county that went Democrat. We had 5 million that went Republican. So instead of putting 2 million for the Democrats, 5 million for the Republican to add up to all the other things, you're going, oh, that's a Republican, fuck the Democrats. You know, and that's what bothers me about it.
So you're saying that the Electoral College vote should go, like, if 40%, you know, if Maryland, I think it was 10, I don't know if it still is, has 10 votes, then if 40% of the state votes Republican, then 4 points of the Electoral College should go to the Republicans and 6 should go to the Democrats?
Exactly. Something similar to that. So that way
I think in some states it's like that. I don't,
okay.
Or at least it was. Every state actually goes by different rules, which
gotcha.
is another reason that the whole system's really fucking stupid. But and I found out. I just found the way that it works as far as the Electoral College votes.
Okay.
Each state has a number of electors equal to the number of U.S. senators, which is 2 in each state, plus the number of its U.S. representatives. So, you know, Alaska gets 3 because it's got, you know, the 2 senators, and of course the minimum number of representatives it can have is 1, but population-wise, it gets those 3 with much less population than, say, Maryland would get 3. So that's why the balance is kind of weird.
I don't know. I just think it's messed up because it feels like your vote gets thrown away if your county doesn't vote your way.
Right, but there's only been 2 times in history where the popular vote, where you're looking at where the vote didn't get thrown away. You're looking at pure popular vote. There's only been 2 times in history where the person that won the popular vote didn't win the presidency. Now, in my view, that's 2 times too many.
Right.
But especially when Bush was one of them. But you know, for the most part, it does work out evenly.
Fair enough.
Now, that being said, it's kind of interesting that it works out evenly with the Electoral College in place, because you'd think it would be a little more biased, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I mean, there's a lot of Republicans out here that are pissed off because the Democrats win all the time because of that kind of shit. You know, and it's, you know, to me, and I think it even works that way in the county. I don't think it's popular vote. I think if the county goes, I think it goes to the point of a county, like if somebody in the county is running for, mayor?
County commissioner.
Okay. Well, I didn't know how far it goes up in the county.
Mayor's like a city thing, usually.
Okay. So, but, so you think about a popular vote works in that scenario because you're all voting in there.
Right.
So,
Now you see, here's the problem. What we're discussing here,
okay.
It's so complex that we can't figure it out. And you need like a law degree or a political science degree to understand it. It's obviously not work. It's not right. Okay, because
my degree is worth something.
Yeah, to point out how fucked up the system is. If you need a political science degree to understand the shit, then how the hell is somebody off the street who is expected to participate in democracy and understand it? How are they expected to understand that?
Well, maybe we should all just paid more attention in school.
Well, and it's interesting too when you're talking about how they get there, how when you get into gerrymandering and all that, where they're adjusting the voting districts, and you should look up some of the voting districts in Maryland.
I know, they're screwed up.
Oh my God, there's one that pretty much covers there's one that I couldn't believe it. They literally wrapped it around the the populations of African Americans. Like, literally, like, one of the regions covers, like, it's got a little, like, finger that goes up and covers into, like, Pikesville. And for anybody that's listening outside the area, Pikesville is the Baltimore Orthodox Jewish community. Basically covers Pikesville and goes down and then actually goes out into Howard County. It avoids like Randallstown, which, is actually a fairly predominant and actually fairly wealthy, African American community, but it avoids that. It like literally like wraps around any areas that are predominantly African American and just covers areas that are majority white. It's amazing that they got away with the shapes they get away with.
Well,
there's nothing based on the counties or it's literally so twisted to keep Democrats in office. It's kind of scary.
Well, look what they just did up here in Carroll County just this year. They changed the district for that Republican representative Roscoe Bartlett has to where it's more predominantly Democrat now. And he's not going to hold office because he's going to get voted out because he's a Republican.
I'm okay with that.
Well, I like Roscoe Bartlett because he's a smart guy. I've met the man. He's a smart man.
Yeah,
okay?
That's why he compared federal student loans to the Holocaust, because he's a smart man.
Well, he said something stupid because, maybe because he's Republican. I don't know. But
he misspoke.
Yes, he was misinformed.
It wasn't a legitimate, comment. But no, he advocates
that we can shut that shit down.
That's right.
The reason I say he's intelligent is because he advocates preparing for disasters, and like I do.
Yeah, he's a member of the Tea Party, right?
Oh, so he's a conspiracy theorist. Got it.
He's part of the Tea Party, right?
I don't care. In the beginning, the Tea Party was a good thing, and it got corrupted by the Republican Party.
It's like the opposite of Occupy Wall Street. It's a good thing, and then it got corrupted.
Originally, Sarah Palin got involved, and that's what fucked it all up. You see,
I think the Koch brothers getting involved got it all fucked up. Sarah Palin just wound up being a stupid mouthpiece for it.
Well, yeah, but originally
she got bored with her husband's Alaska separatist movement meetings, so she decided to join the Tea Party.
Right.
It was the taxed enough movement, or taxed enough already.
Yes,
and I agreed with a lot of things he said, and then suddenly it's part of the Republican Party.
He was born in Kentucky. You know that?
And then all of a sudden religion took over, and it went to shit.
Well, yeah, it got subordinated to the Republican Party. And that's the thing, though. They knew they were threatened by that movement, so they took it over. That's the way it is.
No, I think it was a whole big thing about the companies trying to find a way to weasel their way into it, and they did, and bought them. Just like they bought the rest of them.
There have been comments that will occupy Wall Street.
Yeah, but you know what? They're not promoting people in the politics either. So, I give two shits what they say because they're not trying to promote specific people into office to fulfill their agenda.
Is that why they're at both the Republican and Democratic
to protest
in the free speech zone?
To protest. They're not there to push for a specific person. Unlike the Tea Party, who was trying to get people into the office, people like Paul Ryan, who lied incessantly and wants to take away 90% of the shit that those people are worried about.
Yeah, and where is Paul Ryan now?
Vice President nominee?
Exactly. So I can't really say that was a legitimate thing.
He was bought and paid for to be part of that ticket. That's why he got it.
Well, who says he's not bought and paid for to be in the Tea Party, too? That's the thing.
Exactly.
It was suborned.
The Occupy Wall Street, you don't have to worry about any of that stuff.
Well, yeah.
They're all broke.
That's right. They're all dirty, smelly hippies living in tents.
Exactly. It's still
on their iPhones and MacBooks and.
Yeah, they're hipsters. That's all it is.
They're accoutrements of corporate greed. Oh wait, no, it's Apple, so it's okay. Even though they're the most, monopolistic corporation in the United States right now.
I've never liked Apple to begin with. I like freedom of choice, which is why I like Windows, because I can customize it and change things and build my own.
I like Google.
I'd like Linux more, but I don't understand it.
I tried Linux. They broke my computer, put it on. It was a laptop, and the display driver didn't function, and I didn't have a copy of Windows, so I just...
Probably operator error, just saying.
I don't think so. It was Ubuntu.
It's Ubuntu?
Ubuntu. It's
Ubuntu.
an open Linux. Anyway.
All right.
Yeah. So, yeah, but the Occupy Wall Street movement is a completely different beast from the Tea Party. You didn't see the police trying to barricade them and beating down protesters.
That's the Tea Party's armed.
Plus, it didn't. I mean, that should have been more of a cause of an alarm for the police than, the fact of people walking down the street with signs.
I like to see one of the fucking Tea Party or the Occupy Wall Street party people walking around with an AR-15 on his back.
Right, exactly.
How fast he gets pounded.
Exactly. That's my point. That's how you could tell there was corporate backing for the Tea Party, because they didn't get fucked with.
I'm not denying corporate backing. I'm just saying that the roots of the movement it was corrupted.
Then you know what? They should have picked a better name.
They should have picked a better name?
Yes, they should have picked a better name, because they've ruined the Tea Party name. The Tea Party was a very important thing that happened in this country, and they fucking ruined it. Along with the fucking Don't Tread on Me fucking flag.
Amen, man. I've been...
Gadsden flag?
Dude, my father says all the time that he wants the, I don't know why, but well, no, it's actually my stepmom, but she says all the time she wants her rainbow back and her rainbow flag back. I want the Don't Tread on Me flag back, because I always liked that flag growing up as a kid. Right. And now I gotta associate it with a bunch of fucking thieving douchebags, and it pisses me the fuck off.
Amen.
I'm disappointed in that too. I was seeing that the Gadsden flag was being used by a movement that was suborned by the two-party system. It angers me, and it's like that is a symbol of freedom, okay, not a symbol of further subjugation.
It's them associating themselves with propaganda that's already well known in the country to pull on the heartstrings of the people who buy into it.
And that's what the political science has come up with.
And that's how you can tell the Tea Party was manufactured. Ta-da! I win.
Well, yeah, now.
No, because that's all stuff that they started with. They started out with the Tea Party, the Tax Enough Already group. That was them. They started out with the flag. And then they got co-opted by the Republican Party, and all that stuff stuck. So all that stuff started from the get-go.
And the grassroots movements that they had and the rallies and stuff that they had were all paid for by corporate interests. So,
right. Exactly.
And that was before the Republican money kicked in.
I say we just burn it all down to the ground and start over. Because that's the only way to get rid of all this corruption.
That's the one thing from Europe I wish we had, was the vote of no confidence, where they wipe the whole thing and everybody starts over.
Well, the only way we have it in this country is armed insurrection, and hey, they frown upon that.
Well, I guess so, because they're at the other end of that barrel.
Well, maybe, yeah, I tell you what, though, when the shit hits the fan, the people at the DMV are going to be the first people up against the wall at blindfolds.
What DMV? All I see is a smoking hole in the ground.
Oh my God, I almost spit soda all over my screen. Oh.
That's twice in one night.
It is twice in one night. We're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
But and you know what though, and you're right, and I do agree with you, Johnny. The fact of the vote of no confidence thing, I think it's something that should have been implemented. The fact of being able to wipe the slate clean and start all over again. And I really don't want to.
It would just suck to have to vote every 2 months.
Yeah, but I mean, at least it's see, the one thing I'm kind of hoping for, and as much as I don't like the Democrats or the Republicans, I'm really hoping the Republicans get voted out, because I'm hoping that if they get voted out, they'll realize their nonsense
No, you know what? I partially agree with you. I want to see the Tea Party Republicans get voted out.
Yes.
Because I think that the Republican Party in the past has had some kind of interest at some points and enough common sense to actually compromise when it needed to. It was when all the fucking Tea Party people walked in and said that we're not going to compromise anymore, and we want it this way, and if we don't get exactly what we want, we're going to stall and stop everything that anybody is trying to do. And since they've stepped in, has fucked us royally. Sitting there and listening to Michelle Bachmann before the whole credit, the credit default, whatever. Mm-hmm. Before listening to her say we should just let it, we should just default on our loans, it's not going to affect us at all. Mm-hmm. And, and then turn around, and she's supposed to have a fucking degree in economics. I'm pretty sure she's a master's in economics. She's saying it's not going to do anything. And for them to all stall to the point where just the fact that they were stalling caused our credit rating as a country to go down. Why did nobody ever walk back and go, hey, look, you're fucking wrong. Mm-hmm. Remember when you said this? You said it wouldn't matter? We didn't even default, and you're still fucking wrong. The Tea Party people need to go away because they're the ones that are stopping any kind of compromise. I don't like either party, but I'm okay with them when they're getting along and actually trying to do something. Right. The Tea Party people are stopping any kind of a movement whatsoever when they refuse to take any action if they don't get things exactly their way. They're like a fucking crying child in a grocery store that's just not going to stop crying until they get fucking Reese's Pieces. It's fucking ridiculous. It really is. Like, that's what it reminds me of. Like,
that reminds me of Democrats.
Democrats, you knock on Democrats, man, but at least when people are fucking compromising, they're not out in the street with guns, walking down the street, calling, all the other people and running around saying all their stupid shit like the fucking Republicans are, man. These fucking Republicans, they fucking kill me with their stupidity. Like, it's not the fact of lying, it's not even the fact of getting facts wrong. And just misstepping and saying, it was 2,563,000 as opposed to 2,564,000. It wasn't something like that. It's fucking straight out bullshit, bold-faced lies. Like the fucking rape thing. It's stupid. Muslims have infiltrated the fucking Senate. I mean, it's every single one of those statements fucking kills me.
The country's gonna fall under Sharia law.
Right. Exactly. It's like, dude, seriously.
Now, mind you, the stuff that we don't hear about as much and the stuff that bothers me on the Democratic end of that is shit like, I like what the ACLU stands for, what they're supposed to stand for, but in practice, they are out of their fucking minds. And that's the shit in that end of the left end of the spectrum, that some of the stuff they try to sue for absolutely blows my mind. And it reminds me of the left end of, the opposite of the Tea Party, where they've just gone off the deep end. But those are the type of Democrats that drive me a little bit crazy.
And honestly, I mean, but if they're doing that kind of crap in the court system and the courts are sorting it out, that's fine. The problem is with the Republicans that I see is that it makes its way to the public.
No, the problem I have with them sorting it out in the court systems is that they are going forward with these insane things and they're suing the government. When they're suing the government with insane things, that means our tax dollars are being wasted to fight against pure stupidity.
Okay, fair enough.
So that's wasting the court's time. They could be dealing with other things.
Okay.
And it's wasting taxpayer money on lawyers and everything else to fight against it.
But here's my point in this scenario. Okay, while I agree with all of those statements, and I agree we shouldn't be wasting tax money on shit like that, what is worse? Wasting our tax money on that, or having people running around spouting out that women can't get pregnant getting raped because their body excretes a special serum that stops it.
I would actually say that wasting tax dollars is more important. Here's the reason why. Because it's real, and that's just talk.
Right, but at the same time, the problem is that, like, we've gone over this before, the fact that if you spout something long enough and loud enough, it tends to become popular opinion, like you guys were talking about dealing with people that watch Fox News on a regular basis, and they do nothing but spout that. That is what's happening. And meanwhile, we're building this entire country of ignorant people who are walking around and making statements like that. The stuff being handled in the courts can be struck down by the courts, and it can be handled by the courts. Yes, it may be stupid, yes, it may be frivolous, or whatever the case may be, and yes, it may involve our tax dollars, which does suck. But I would rather let the court system hash out something, because I don't want to turn around and go to court for something and then go, oh no, it's too frivolous and we're not going to spend the taxpayers' money on it for me to win something. Okay?
Well, they've already done that though. They're saying, you can't ask for court costs and lawsuits against the government anymore. So how is somebody that doesn't have millions of dollars able to actually sue the government?
By using the ACLU. But anyway.
But the ACLU is wasting their money on the one I just found from 2011 was them suing a jail stating that the jail, banning pornography violates inmates' rights.
Yeah, that was pretty fucked up. But
well, I mean, really,
But if the ACLU is in there fighting for something, then they're fighting for something, and it doesn't. I mean, just because we see it as frivolous doesn't necessarily mean it shouldn't be moved in the court. Because some of us may think Roe versus Wade was frivolous, but it happened, and we can't say, oh, it was a waste of taxpayer dollars. So,
that was the Supreme Court legislating, though. That's a totally different thing.
But my point is that us as a normal society cannot regulate what can and cannot be a legitimate case in court. Because that's for the judge to decide. That's why he's there. So we can't turn around and go, oh, well, you can't do this in court because of this. So, my point is that when you have people running around spouting stupid, being ignorant as we could possibly make them through our society that has an exuberant amount of access to information, we have some of the stupidest people in the world in this country with access to a ton of information. And it fucking kills me because instead of going and actually doing any kind of research through Google or Bing or whatever other fucking
Republicans don't use the internet. Computers are hard.
They do for porn. But to find their call boys.
Actually, funny enough, there was an article that said in red states the highest Google searches was for gay porn, and there was a couple other things, but they were the highest Google searches in red states.
Anyway, so that makes my point. Anyway, when you got people running around spouting stupid in an age of information, there's a problem there, and that worries me more than somebody having a lawsuit which may be considered frivolous. Okay? So, and all the stories I've heard about supposed frivolous lawsuits, there tends to be more facts to it than whatever it is that the little blurb headline is behind it. So, I'm not the one who's supposed to be judging that. That's what the judge is there for. But I can judge popular opinion and popular thought processes, and I find all the American people guilty of being idiots. So, anyway.
So are they going to be censured by this Congress?
No, I promote education. I promote deductive reasoning. So, as far as I'm concerned, there was a little picture that I put up on the Congress of the Working Class site, which was a picture of two people talking. And it was one guy looking at the other guy and saying, hey, sometimes I can turn into a unicorn. The other guy says, oh yeah, prove it. And the guy turns into a unicorn. He says, okay, you're right. Then you have the other guys who says, sometimes I can turn into a unicorn. He says, oh yeah, prove it. The other one goes, you can't prove that I don't. That's what we got going on now. And that's what bothers me about our society. Right now.
What bothers me about our society is that we're in decline. And nobody gives a shit.
Well, that's part of the decline. The decline is built on the backs of many idiots. So, and I don't deny that I may at some point in time be idiots too, but I at least attempt to try to educate myself on things that I do not know. And that's more than I can say for, I'll say, 70% of the Republicans to be nice.
You
So.
bigot.
It's not that. I mean, and the Democrats are just as bad with it. But the problem is, at least the Democrats you can fucking talk to without them turning around trying to shove God up your ass. Although that might change after this election cycle.
Of course. Well, no, only until the election's over. And then it's back to being a Muslim for Barack.
Yeah. Being an atheist dog. But, anyway. So that is the end of this session of Congress of the Working Class. I hope you enjoyed us all yelling at each other. And for Mike and Johnny and Esworthy, good night.
See ya.
Later.
Listen up, man, I'll tell you who I am. Just another stupid American. You don't wanna listen, you don't wanna understand. So finish up a drink and go home.